My name is Margaret. I am 91 years old. I live in a house that is filled with the ticking of clocks and the scent of the lavender sachets I've tucked into every drawer for decades. For 70 years, I was the wife of a man named Harold. We were the cornerstone of this neighborhood, the couple that everyone pointed to as the gold standard of devotion. I spent 7 decades believing that our marriage was a transparent pool of shared thoughts and mutual honesty. I thought I knew every crease in his hands and every shadow in his mind. But 3 days after his funeral, while I was folding his Sunday suits to give to the mission, a small, jagged piece of paper fell from the lining of his favorite wool coat. It was a receipt for a safe deposit box at a bank across town, a bank Harold had never mentioned in 70 years of marriage. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. Harold was a man of routine. He was a high school history teacher who loved his garden, his pipe, and his evening news. He wasn't a man of secrets, or so I told myself. We shared a bank account, a car, and a life that felt as sturdy as the oak tree in our backyard. But as I sat in that cold, private room at the bank, watching the clerk slide a small metal box toward me, my hands shook. I expected to find a hidden nest egg, perhaps some life insurance I didn't know about. Instead, I found a collection of letters, dated every year on our anniversary, from 1956 to 2026. They were all addressed to me, but none of them had ever been sent. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. The first letter was written on our 5th anniversary. I remembered that day clearly. We had gone to the lake, and he had bought me a pearl brooch. I thought he was the happiest man alive. But the letter said, "Margaret, today I sat across from you and felt like a fraud. I am struggling with a darkness I cannot name. I want to tell you that I feel lost in this life of white fences and lesson plans, but I see the way you look at me with such pride, and I cannot bear to break that reflection. So I will keep the secret of my sadness and give you the man you believe I am." I realized then that the sturdiness I loved in him was actually a cage he had built to keep me safe from his own internal storms. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I read through the 1960s. While the world was changing outside, I thought our home was a sanctuary of stability. But Harold was writing about the crushing weight of expectation. He wrote about the night our daughter was born, saying, "I held our child tonight and felt a terrifying urge to run away, not because I don't love you, but because the responsibility of being your hero is a lead weight around my neck. I will stay, of course. I will be the father and the husband you need. But I am writing this so that somewhere, in some cold box, the man who wanted to run can exist." I felt a wave of nausea. I had spent my life leaning on a man who was quietly buckling under my weight. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I looked for evidence of another woman, some scandalous betrayal that would make sense of the secrecy, but there was no one else. The truth was far more haunting. The letters were a chronicle of a man who had sacrificed his own identity to become the person I wanted him to be. He had suppressed his dreams of traveling, his desire to live in the city, and even his own political beliefs because they didn't fit the Harold I had fallen in love with. He had spent 70 years performing a version of himself that was curated for my happiness. I wasn't married to a man. I was married to a masterpiece of his own design. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I remember the year 1982 when he turned down a prestigious teaching position at a university in another state. He told me he didn't want to uproot me and the kids, and I had kissed him and told him he was the most selfless man I knew. His letter from that week was stained with what looked like a dried tear. It said, "I turned it down today. It felt like cutting off a limb. But I saw the joy in Margaret's eyes when she talked about the new garden she's planting, and I knew I couldn't take that from her. My life is a series of small deaths so that she can bloom. I wonder if she will ever know the cost of her garden." After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I felt like a thief. I looked at the beautiful life we had, the travels we did take, the house we paid off, the children we raised, and it all felt like it had been bought with a currency I didn't know he was spending. He was spending his soul to buy my peace. I realized that my 70 years of perfect marriage were only perfect because he never let me see the cracks. He had protected me from the truth of his own humanity. He didn't trust me enough to love the man who was sad, or the man who was selfish, or the man who was scared. He only trusted me to love the hero. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. As I reached the letters from the last decade, his tone changed. He wrote about the comfort of our old age, saying, "The mask has become my face now, Margaret. I don't even remember the man who wanted to run. I look at you sleeping beside me, and I realize that even though I started this out of duty, I ended it out of a deep, gnarled kind of love. You are the only person who truly knows me, even though you don't know me at all. You are my witness, even if you've been looking at a ghost." He had finally found peace in the lie. He had lived it so long that the performance became his reality. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I see young couples now, and they talk about radical honesty. They share every dark thought and every fleeting doubt. I used to think they were being messy, but now I think they are being brave. They are giving each other the chance to love the whole person, not just the curated version. I realize now that Harold's secrecy was a form of protection, but it was also a form of distance. By never showing me his darkness, he never truly let me in. We were two ships sailing side by side for 70 years, but we never once dropped anchor in the same harbor. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I sat in his garden yesterday, looking at the oak tree. I realized that the tree is only strong because of the roots that are hidden underground, twisted and dirty and struggling in the dark. Harold was the roots, and I was the leaves. I got to live in the sun and feel the breeze, never realizing the struggle that was happening beneath the surface to keep me upright. I felt a profound sense of gratitude, but also a profound sense of loss. I lost the chance to be the one who supported him. I lost the chance to tell him that I would have loved the man who wanted to run too. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I've decided not to burn the letters. I'm going to keep them in the lavender-scented drawer. Sometimes I read one before I go to sleep. It's my way of finally having a conversation with the real Harold. I talk to the paper. I say, "I see you now, Harold. I see the sacrifice. I see the sadness. And I love you more for it, not less." I am 91 years old, and I am finally, truly married to my husband. The mask is gone, and even though he's not here to see it, the distance between us has finally closed. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. What I learned is that love isn't always about what you share. Sometimes it's about what you carry, so the other person doesn't have to. Harold carried the weight of our world on his back for 70 years. He was a quiet giant. My regret is that I didn't look closer. I was so happy in the light he provided that I never wondered where the light was coming from. I never saw the fuel he was burning. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I think about our wedding day in 1956. We were so young, so full of promises we didn't understand. I remember the way he looked at me at the altar. I used to think it was a look of pure joy. Now I know it was a look of profound resolve. He was deciding in that moment to be the man I needed, no matter what it cost him. It was the most heroic thing a human being can do, and he did it every day for 25,000 days. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. My name is Margaret. I have lived a long life, and I have learned that the truth isn't always something that sets you free. Sometimes the truth is a heavy burden that someone else carries for you out of love. If you find a person who is willing to be your hero, make sure you tell them they don't have to be. Tell them you love their shadows as much as their light. Don't let them go to their grave with a box full of unsaid words. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. The clocks are still ticking in the house, but the silence feels different now. It feels honest. I look at his suits in the closet, and I don't see a history teacher anymore. I see a man who fought a silent war for 70 years and won. He won because I was happy. He won because our children were safe. He won because he finished the race he started. And even though he's gone, I'm finally cheering for the right man. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I'm going to spend the rest of my time being Margaret, just Margaret, not the version of me he was trying to protect, but the woman who is strong enough to hold his secrets. I'm going to be the witness he never had. I'm going to tell his story to the wind and the trees, and maybe, just maybe, he'll hear me and finally feel the weight lift off his shoulders. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. It took 91 years to realize that a perfect marriage is a beautiful illusion built by a very hardworking architect. I am grateful for the house he built, but I am even more grateful for the man who was willing to work in the dark to keep it standing. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. My name is Margaret. I am at the end of my road, and for the first time in my life, I am not looking at the view. I am looking at the path. And it is a beautiful, difficult, hidden path. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. Harold was the greatest man I ever knew, not because he was perfect, but because he loved me enough to pretend he was. And that is the most shocking, beautiful truth of all. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. I'm closing the drawer now. The lavender smells sweet. The sun is setting. I am not alone. I have 70 years of letters to keep me company, and for the first time, I am reading the whole book. After 70 years of marriage, I finally saw the truth. Everything is exactly as it should be. The secrets are safe with me, and the love is finally real.